You served on the Presidential Honor Guard, correct?
Yes, sir.
You were commander?
Deputy commander under Reagan and Bush.
Okay. And your experience under those two presidential honor guards.
Blessing from God Almighty.
How so?
To serve the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan and George Bush, especially Ronald Reagan, one of the greatest presidents in the history of the country. Matter of fact, Pete and I were talking about it. I was recalled in 2004 to go back to Washington to do the state funeral for Ronald Reagan. And I have to say, in my humble opinion,
wow.
I'll put him up there in the top 3 in the history of this country.
Did you have contact with the presidents in this period of time?
Yes.
Okay. So let's introduce our guest.
My dear friend, Colonel Pete Mask, who's the current commander of the United States Air Force Presidential Honor Guard. And
by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned a few moments ago, of course, they're going to be appearing in the Veterans Day Parade starting 11 o'clock Saturday, November 4th. And you're going to give us the lineup because this is pretty important, Pete, in a moment. But the other Colonel, Pete Mask, sitting here as well, I got 2 of them here, arrived today, and wow, you start at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, 0700, pardon me.
Yes, sir.
Be military for you. 0700.
Appreciate that.
And you start at Broad Creek Middle School. Their performance, you'll have a photography opportunity. Then that's the drill team. Then am I seeing this correctly, Pete Benton? There are 2 presentations at the middle school?
Yes, sir. There will be 2. Lynn Jones and the assistant principal arranged it. And what we're going to do, we're going to do the first performance from 7:50 to about 8:15. And then what we'll do is take a break, and then they'll bring in the second group of students.
Wow.
And we're very excited about that opportunity.
All right. Let's get to Colonel Pete Mask, United States Air Force Presidential Honor Guard Drill Team Ceremonial Marching Unit. Tell us a little something about you, Colonel.
So, thanks for having me, first of all.
Oh, our pleasure.
Very grateful, and I know the team really appreciates all the stuff that Pete has put together, and I know they're...
What do you mean? He allows them 1 meal a day.
Hey, we'll work for food, right? We'll work for food, you know?
I'll tell you what.
They're good. They're good.
This is... I'm jesting here, but seriously, from O Dark 30 to O Dark 30, they're on the road. They're performing.
Yeah.
And 3 county performances across 3 county region. Congratulations, Pete Benton. My apologies, Colonel. Back to you.
No
So it's a little background. Where are you from originally, and how'd you get into this?
So I was born and raised in an army town called Oxford, Alabama, and went to school at the University of Alabama. And I know.
Yes.
I got a lot of stories about that. But Dad was an Army sergeant, career Army, and then career Army civilian. My mom they met in Korea and had me when he retired from service. And I wanted to serve because I saw all the goodness that it brought to our family. So it's kind of a family business, and decided to go Air Force ROTC, graduated from Alabama, went ROTC, went into Space and Missile Acquisitions, and just bounced around. And I have 7 career fields, and I'm currently the first reservist commander of the unit.
Okay, let me just say that very slowly. The first reservist, in other words, you've got R after your name. Okay, United States Air Force Reserve. And you're the first reservist to ever get command of that unit.
Yes, sir.
That's impressive. And the reason I say that, we both know, the military has this opinion of the regulars versus the reservists. I know firsthand.
It's changed a lot over the years.
It has changed.
Yes.
All right. So how did you end up in this position?
So it's funny. I was doing my teaching down at OTS. When I crossed in the reserves, I was in the airport, did some teaching full-time as well, stayed full-time because when I crossed over, I wanted to maintain that full-time status. But I knew that they were downsizing, and I was like, okay, it's time to make sure I have that flexibility and can kind of pick and choose what I do. Kept teaching at OTS, and then after OTS, I said, okay, it's time to move to a different area. Job came for a full-time opportunity in D.C. I applied for that. After about 2 years of applying to different jobs, because, as a reserve, we have to apply to jobs just like civilian folks do. Got hired to be the chief of all congressional inquiries and complaints, so I got to work with a lot of staffers and I learned what not to do as a commander, kind of the commander's
Right.
playbook of what not to do for 2 years, and it was just a really good experience. I had a great team that really loved on me, and loved me up, and helped me learn, team reserve at the headquarters level, and kind of grow me a little bit more. And then they helped me get 05 to lieutenant colonel, and then after that, the next job for me to pin on the rank was I took another Air Force specialty code, being a personnelist, and then went over and was the headquarters Air Force District of Washington section commander. Loved that job, had a great family and a great team there. And then this opportunity came up. I applied and said, hey, I'd love to do it. I'd love to go back to what we all affectionately, all the alums, call home, and go back and try to help the next generation of ceremonial guardsmen. And now we have a little note, 16 Guardians. So we have Space Force Honor Guard.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So we have both.
Okay. You were talking earlier that you have done presidential inaugurations. Am I correct on that?
I did. I had the tail end of President Obama's first inauguration, and then I PCS when I was active duty back to Los Angeles.
Okay.
But when I was there the first time from 2006, 2009 as a first lieutenant or an 02, and as a captain or an 03, I was a flight commander. I was the director of operations, or the second in command of the unit, for a little bit before I left. Got the full experience. Got to be a White House social aide under President George W. Bush and then President Obama, and it was just a really good time. So I really got to see a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes, and marched, I think, 483 missions. So I was in Arlington a lot.
Wow. Okay. We're talking with Colonel Pete Mask. He is here. He's the commander for the U.S. Air Force Presidential Honor Guard Drill Team and Ceremonial Marching Unit. They're here in the county. They're in Carteret County right now. We're going to be visiting all the other counties. Pete Benton, to you,
Yes, sir.
Former deputy commander as well. You've said in the past this is a particularly prestigious unit.
Yes.
How so?
It's a special duty assignment, 4 years controlled tour. You get a top secret presidential
Wait.
access clearance.
Slow that down. One more time. Start from the beginning.
Special duty assignment, 4
Special
years.
duty assignment.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're handpicked.
Okay.
You have to be at the top 1%. He didn't say that because he's pretty humble, but you have to be in the top 1% of your officer ranks to be selected.
Wow.
And it's a top secret presidential access clearance, which is the presidential access is harder to get than the top secret. Because you have to be able
because
to
you're right next door. Not only that, you're carrying a weapon.
Yes, sir. You're allowed to carry a weapon
I mean,
in the
this
presence
is
of
not
the President of the United States.
Yeah. I think that's an important point. It's not just that you're next to the president or within the president entourage, but you actually are carrying a weapon.
Yes, sir.
And so they need to know something about you. That's impressive. All right. Colonel Mask,
Yes, sir.
your experience now, you said you've only been on this job now for, what, 3 months?
About a little over 3 months. Yes.
Okay. Was it what you expected?
I don't think you're ever really ready for command.
How many men are we commanding?
Right now, when I first got there,
I love that we, by the way, you.
exactly. No. The first time I was there was about 212. Now there's about 285, and it's totally changed. So whatever I knew as a baseline when I was there before, I just kind of blank slate, start over, just soak it all in and trust the team. And we got a really good team, high-performing team of folks.
That's one thing that you've got individuals that obviously didn't get there by mistake. And then secondly, they obviously have pride in what they're doing. So I'm thinking, other than gentle observation on your part, you're really not kicking butt. These men and are the women involved in this?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
These men and women are there. Did they apply to be in the honor guard?
So there's the supervisors or the non-commissioned officers. They actually there used to be a board process where they're selected for that. Now there's a little bit of the Air Force has shifted to more of a talent marketplace or kind of an online, like you can apply and be screened. Everyone that goes to the unit is screened no matter what. the enlisted, actually, what's new, that's changed a lot since when I was first there, and even when you were first there, is the enlisted can actually, like, if we see young high schoolers that do drill and they want to come to the honor guard, they can go to a recruiter and they can sign up at before they go to MEPS, and they can actually be inserted into the honor guard, which is different because when I was there the first time, we went to basic training and did a seminar. So the average age of the unit is 19. So there's the problems that come with
being 19-year-olds.
young adults, right?
Yeah.
But they know the standard. It's very clearly communicated, and you're going to see the best of the best. Because the drill team, they are outstanding. They have to have tryouts. That we actually have a class going right now, or a squad going right now through the drill team training, where they're doing physical conditioning. They're running around the campus, just clapping drill team. They're throwing like 20-pound rifles. It's crazy.
Okay, we'll take a quick break on that. I want to come back to the physical aspect of this law as well as the mental. And this, by the way, segues nicely into a conversation with you, Pete Benton, who brought this team here to the area. I want to appreciate that. You've got the drill team at West Carteret, the NRTC unit, which has done an outstanding job. We'll talk about that as well, since you've just shared with us, Colonel, that anybody thinking about joining the Air Force has the opportunity to pursue this particular line. Stay tuned for more here on Viewpoints. Let's talk about the physical aspects of being on the drill team. I mean, they're marching. They've got to maintain cadence. They've got to maintain the length of stride. Am I correct on that?
They do. Yep. Yes, sir.
And it's very wearing.
It is. The rifle that they toss as an M1 Garand rifle with a full length bayonet. It's about 18 pounds, and we're one of the few services that actually changes the routine every year, and they throw the weapon. They don't just sit there and do like, let me slap this rifle. They literally chuck it. So they're going to see a lot of that when they come out to these drill team performances. It is not easy to do that. I've actually seen when things go wrong and had to sign the safety forms. There's cuts involved and other things that are pretty gnarly.
Excuse me. Somebody was just telling me OSHA was coming in. No, I'm sorry.
Not when I'm there, I promise.
I understand.
That's how you get fired. But,
no, but I mean, really, well, I comment about that jokingly. We don't take into consideration, once you put on that uniform, you belong to the government. Not only that, no matter whether you're at home, on your home facility, home base, or on deployment, you are always in harm's way in some fashion. Even when you're training, perfect example. I apologize for that editorial, but I think it's an important issue. As we experience Veterans Day this Saturday, which is really obviously a week out in advance of the 11/11/11, but still one of the reasons we do recognize our veterans is they put on that uniform, they were in harm's way. And of course, I always point out the family members who, as a former co-host used to say, the individual put on the uniform voluntarily raised their hand and said, I will serve. The families, they got drafted. So
very true. Very true.
I apologize. I digress.
No, you're good.
So the training, how long do you train? How often do you train?
We block off times in our schedules. I can't remember how long camp is. I'd say it's probably like 4 to 6 weeks, but they actually.
But you're doing these drills. I mean, you have to prepare. Does it get to the point where it's just automatic, or do you have to, buck yourself up and say, okay, I got to get my mind straight?
So there's the initial phase where they're trying out for drill team, and then they go into, once they make drill team, then they're just training constantly. Literally, like anytime you come to the Honor Guard campus in DC, they're in our building. We have an indoor facility. They're outside training. They're doing push-ups. If they drop the weapon, they have to do push-ups. There's a whole pride system that goes with the insignias they wear on their ascot, which is like the neck. You'll see it. It's a little patch, white scarf looking. But has a patch on it. Well, those patches also indicate like their level of skill proficiency, and there's a lot of pride that goes into that, and every detail of their uniform. You'll see that through the performances. But if they drop, during a performance, they call for weapon. They have a spare that's there. There's a whole system involved. But they train intensely to be able to do this grueling schedule, because this schedule looks grueling to the normal person. To them, it's just normal business. They go to, like, last year they went to Edinburgh, Scotland, and did a bunch of different drills there.
At the castle?
At the castle, and a huge military, they call it a tattoo. It's a
Tattoo.
whole huge ceremony.
Yeah.
The band
That
was
is
there this
something.
year. It's awesome. They're trying to do one, I think, next year in Switzerland. They're looking at maybe doing a Pacific Air Force tour in Japan. There's a lot of stuff in the books, but they are definitely in high demand.
You guys are, though, Colonel, I mean, great. Glad you came down the beach. Pete, you going to let them at least see the water one day out of the week?
Absolutely.
What day? And when?
Well-
between 0400 and 0600?
I think we've got some time on Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh,
They might
man,
be able
I'll
to
tell
go
you
out.
what, we're looking at a total lineup here. Broad Creek Middle starting tomorrow. Then right behind that, West Carteret High School. You're going to be there for the NRTC.
Yes, sir.
And I know I was talking to the commanding officer there. He's excited about this. Havelock High School. You've got West Craven. I'm looking at you're going to Jacksonville.
Yes,
We
sir.
mentioned also the Vietnam Wall in Havelock at Walter B. Jones. Right after that, you head right on to another school, Swansboro Middle School. You're putting on some miles on the road. Pete, you of course are very proud of your service with this. This is a message to our community, but also to these youngsters who are going to see that. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
It's an opportunity to get them to consider joining the Air Force.
Absolutely.
This is a recruiting effort.
100%, absolutely.
So, Colonel, that's what it's understood. These youngsters, these 19, 20-year-olds who are going to be doing the drill, they are looking forward to this. They enjoy the, if you will, the camaraderie, but also the personal connections.
Absolutely. They absolutely know and understand their role in recruiting. I mean, their saying is recruit, retain, and inspire. I mean, they know their role. They love doing this, and they train to do this.
It is inspirational, and I've seen drill teams before. You're from here. Where do you go? What's your next stop? Not this week. I'm talking weeks ahead.
They're actually leaving here, and they're going to a Pacers game, an NBA basketball game.
Okay.
I'm actually going back to base because I have some other duties, but they're going to go on to the Pacers game, and then they're going to actually perform in the Chicago Bulls Veterans Day festivities.
Dropping that sharp point on the floor is not going to be that won't be conducive to the basketball game.
Oh, they don't anticipate dropping at all. That's not even a question to them. Actually, right now, some are in the gym. Just so you know, like I was like, "Hey, where are you going?" They go, "I'm going to the gym." I said, "Okay, see you." They're in the gym.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're working out constantly.
Oh yeah. They have to.
Wow.
Part of what they do.
Are they married? Families?
Some are married. I know my NCOIC that's with me. He's married and has a couple kids. So there's some of them are on the road, but they have families too. So
They're spending a lot of time on the road.
they are. They are. We try to look at that and give them some rest and recuperation.
Last 30 seconds here, Pete. You've
Yes,
got
sir.
this arranged in the parade. Let's talk about the parade. Where will the ceremonial marching team will be where? They're in the
They're going to be escorting the Marine Corps band in the colors.
Okay.
And actually, the drill team and the ceremonial flight will be together marching. Okay. Once they get around the corner, the drill team is going to slip in the train depot and change into their ascots and get rid of their belts and everything like that, and prepare for the drill. They will be the last unit to perform
I think that's
at
important.
Show Center. And
Okay,
I did it
that's
for a reason.
So I'm going to keep mentioning this. For those who are attending the parade, stick around. Stick around Saturday morning. It should be over by about 12:30 or 1 o'clock. I want to thank Colonel Pete Mask. I want to thank you, Pete Benton,
Yes, sir.
for your participation this evening, and welcome to the area. And thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
Pleasure. You're worth it. Welcome. Thanks.